Buenos días. ¿Cómo está? Kaypacha with the weekly Pele report for January 22nd of the year 2020. Yeah, I just realized, I have been living here for like years now, and I always go upstream. So today, anticipating the new moon in Aquarius, something completely different, I decided to go downstream. I mean, I've never been down here before. This actually looks very, very nice. I think I'll be able to find a very nice spot here, right? So, to the astrology, the moon is in Capricorn. And, along the way, of course, she's going to conjunct Jupiter today, come around, hit Saturn, Pluto tomorrow, and by Friday, she moves into Aquarius. Oh, yeah. Lighten up a little bit from Earth to outer space. She goes for a new moon in Aquarius at 4 degrees, 22 minutes of Aquarius. I'm going to read you that Sabian symbol for the 5th degree of Aquarius. Let me go walking a little bit here instead of standing around doing nothing. But talking. Oh my God. Anyway, where was I? So that's the moon. Yeah. New moon in Aquarius. Ow! And then she moves on. Sunday she goes into Pisces. Okay. And then she's going to join with Venus. Right? And Venus is going to be joining with Neptune. Yikers. And not only that, but it's going to be square Mars. And I talked about this a little bit last week. Venus square Mars. Venus conjunct Neptune in Pisces. Square Mars in Sagittarius. These are the archetypes I want to talk about today. Mars in Sag, Venus in Pisces, new moon in Aquarius. These are the ones that we're all kind of dealing with here, these days. If you look at that chart up above at the beginning of the report, you will notice, that all the planets are up above the horizon, mostly gathering in the last 3 signs of Capricorn to Pisces. These are the universal signs. It's not so personal. Uranus is really the only planet down there in Taurus. Oh, that brings me to the other thing I wanted to talk about. Eris, speaking of planets, Eris is over there in Aries, newly discovered in 2005. And the planet of discord is exactly square Pluto on Sunday. Now that's to the minute. Both of these guys move so slow that, they're at 23 degrees, Capricorn to Aries, and, within a couple of degrees, like I say, they came into square in 2019. They're staying square all 2020, all 2021, into 2022. And I can talk about that maybe a little bit. I don't know, there's too much to talk about. Okay, everybody. A lot of times I just want to get out of the way so you can see the beautiful river. Anyway, Creekside Chat with Kaypacha today. I want to tell you a story. This is a great story, and I think it weaves together so beautifully this archetype of Sagittarius, mutable fire, the archer, the philosopher, the teacher, the guru, the wise one, ruled by Jupiter, boom, king of Mount Olympus, prosperity, abundance, expansion, Jupiter. And Jupiter, before they discovered Neptune, also ruled Pisces. So, these are both mutable signs. Pisces is mutable water. I call it ether. I don't think it's water. Okay, but it's, now it's ruled by Neptune. Neptune is there, at home. The fish swimming in the ocean of Neptune. It's appropriate. Okay, Venus coming around. And we know that Venus is the lower octave of Neptune. Neptune being divine love, merging together now with Venus, earthly love. Divine and earthly love coming together. But what? Square Mars. You know, it's just like, you gotta pay your dues if you wanna sing the blues. You know it don't come easy. Ow! Where was I? And Aquarius. Fixed air. I don't think it's air. I think it's outer space. Way out there. Extraterrestrial intelligence, computers, technology, artificial intelligence, whatever. New moon. It's groups, organizations. It's politics. Davos. Okay, it's the elite. You know, the billionaires, the rich people coming together, you know, in Davos to decide the future of the economy of planet Earth. I mean, how perfect for the new moon in Aquarius. Oh, poor Dios. And, you know, and then what else? Yeah, so the story. I think I first heard this from my friend Stephen Forrest. If you don't know Stephen Forrest, he's one of the best astrologers ever. You got to read some of his books, go to his workshops, listen to his lectures. He is, you know, he's one of my teachers. He's awesome. And he told this story. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to tell it as good as he told it, but, you know, it's worth telling today. There was a monk, and he had lived and kind of moved up through the ranks of Buddhism. He was a Buddhist monk. And he, you know, did his diet and his vegetarian. He lived the simple life of the devotee, highly devoted, did his meditations every day, sat at the foot of the Rinpoche, and just was, you know, awesome, wonderful, beautiful. And one day it came to be that, you know, the Rinpoche said, you know, it's time. It's your time. I want you to go and stay with the king and learn and bring what we have to the king. And listen, the king is a very wise man. And so the monk, who had never left the monastery since he was a little boy, took the journey over mountain, over dale. You can just see him going through the Himalayas, you know, to the great castle of the king, with the great huge doors and the guards, when the pomp and circumstance, you know, they open and he's greeted and he's brought in on the red carpet. And he's brought in, you know, into the, you know, the king's chambers. Only it's not just the king's chambers. He's immediately led into a great hall where there is a feast. And everyone is eating and drinking and dancing, and, you know, the music is playing, and, you know, and the monk, you know, comes in, and it's like, you know, nothing like he had ever seen before. And the king is at the top. He's at the head, you know, of the, you know, the grand tables of the feasts, of, you know, the food and the, you know, the fruits and the cakes and the meat and the, it's everything that you could imagine. And the king motions, you know, to bring the monk over, and there's a place right next to the king, right? He saved a place for the monk. So, you know, the monk, you know, humbly, you know, with his head bowed down low, you know, I mean, he comes around, and of course, you know, he's, you know, in great humility for the king. And the king, you know, have a seat, you know, sit down, Jupiter, you know, it's just like, boom, you know, help, you know, bring him food, bring him drink. And you know, and so, you know, I mean, the monk had never seen this kind of food or this feast. I mean, he was probably vegetarian or something, you know. and he's like, you know, but they throw the thigh of a llama or something in front of him. Anyway, you don't say no to the king. You don't say no to Jupiter. It's like, okay, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. I mean, the monk is no dummy. I mean, so he sits down and he partakes of the feast with the king. And the king brings on the dancing girls, and the beautiful women dance before the monk, and the monk's eyes just kind of bug out of his head, and he can't believe all of this. Or why the Rinpoche wanted him to come and visit the king in the first place. It was a real head scratcher. So he made it through the night. He made it through the feast. He was just kind of like, oh man. And finally they said, okay, now is, it's time. Take him to his chamber. And so they escort the monk with his tiny little bag of belongings. They escort him to this huge, sala, this huge room with couches and chairs and a big fireplace and the biggest bed that he'd ever seen with a big canopy over the top of it. And they said, "This are your quarters." And so he went in and he tried to go to sleep, but when he laid down on the bed, he looked up. And what did he see? Hanging by a tiny, skinny, thin thread was the sharpest sword he had ever seen, hanging straight from the ceiling right over the bed, right where he had to sleep. He did not get very much sleep that night, with the sharpest sword he'd ever seen hanging right over his head. One little break in that thread and he would be dead. So he tried to sleep, but it took all of his meditation, all of his stilling, calming breath work, all the kundalini that he could do, but still not so good. In the morning, he was brought out for breakfast. He sat down next to the king. "And how did you sleep, my guest?" says the king. And the monk goes, "Well, really, I couldn't sleep hardly at all. There was a sword hanging over my bed." And the king led the monk up to his quarters, up to his room. And they opened the door to the king's chambers, even bigger than the monk's. And the bed is even bigger. But woe and behold, what do they see? 100 swords hanging before thee, each by its own little thread. Every square inch of the king's bed was covered with a sword hanging by a thin thread from the ceiling. And this is where the king slept every night. There was a great lesson here for the monk, obviously, that the Rinpoche wanted to share with him. Yeah? It's that you can have it all. The king had it all. And he enjoyed the lusciousness, Venus, Aphrodite, sugar, sweetness, money, sex, earthly love. It's just like, yes, we can have it all. This is super powerful message. Knowing that we are going to die, knowing that it could all disappear with the drop of a sword, knowing that we could die in this next minute. I could die before the video's over. Right? This is Aquarius. Non-attachment. The way of the Buddhist. The scientist experiments with life, goes into the unknown, has no fear of diving in with the whole heart, the whole body, the whole mind, and just, knowing that it's an experiment, knowing that it's Maya, knowing that there's something to be learned, something to be gained, something to, some truth to be revealed through all of this, and not getting attached emotionally, physically, mentally obsessed, with a particular person, place, thing, routine, position, whatever earthly goods are laid before us, so we can have the feast. It's like, jump in, go for it. Don't lose yourself in it. Don't get taken down the river, right? But just stay conscious, stay awake, stay aware. And so I wanted to bring that story, right? Because, this is this new moon in Aquarius. It has to do with stepping outside the norm, outside the convention, outside the past, non-attachment. And with that non-attachment comes clarity. It's not, I'm seeing this from my subjective viewpoint. I'm not taking things personally. I am in my witness. I'm in my observer. I'm in my third eye. And not only am I in my third eye, but I am connected to something higher, something more. And so what do we have as the Sabian symbol for the 5th degree of Sagittarius? Sabian symbol, if you're new to the channel, this is one of my favorites. Elsie Wheeler, the most amazing clairvoyant in 1925, sat down with Mark Edmund Jones, who had 360 cards with a degree of the zodiac written on each card. And within 8 hours, sitting in a park in San Diego, she held one card up to her head and saw a symbol, and he wrote it down. She held another card up to her head, and he scribed that. And she held another card, 360 cards in 8 hours. Boom, 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 boom. She was phenomenal, and they were all mixed up. So the phenomenal thing is that there was a greater consciousness at work with Elsie that day, working with Mark Edmund Jones, and they brought together the Sabian symbols, and there is an order to these symbols. There's phases and cyclical unfolding, and it's just, it shows so much the beauty of every cycle. So there is a symbol for each degree, and the symbol for the degree of our new moon, which sets the tone for the entire month. Hello. A council of ancestors is seen implementing the efforts of a young leader. Yes, I think of our little 16-year-old talking to the Davos people, about climate change. She's a young leader, eh? The keynote is the root, foundation of past performances, which power and sustain whatever decision is made in a crisis by an individual. The whole past of mankind stands behind any individual effort, especially in times of critical decisions. Every individual is far more dependent upon the strength of his ancestors' achievements, or oppressed by their failures and lack of vision, than he usually believes. This can mean a hidden foundation of individual strength, or the inertia of a tradition, unable to transcend its limited origins. We are in a time, ladies and gentlemen and everybody else, of critical decisions. The year of 2020, everybody's talking about it. The Jupiter-Saturn-Pluto conjunction in square to Eris, the great goddess of discord. These are times where the future of our planet is at stake. And as we can see, and as the mantra deals with today, this age of Aquarius, this archetype of Aquarius, this age of Aquarius is about community. I'm doing a whole event, Astrology Rising 2020 here in Costa Rica. Our theme is unity in diversity. And as we can see, science and technology is bringing us together as a global consciousness more and more. Like it or not, ready or not, we are dealing with global issues. It's not the type of a thing where we can separate out. 5G, SpaceX is, shooting off 20,000 satellites. Right now, since the beginning, there are 1,728 satellites. So we want to multiply that, by more than 10 times what's out there now. By the end of this year, I could tell you another story. I don't know how long I should talk, but I never do. I signed this petition, right? Because there's this petition that the astronomers, there's 230 astronomers that have signed this petition, that against launching 20,000 satellites, because it's going to totally disrupt astronomy, our view of the night sky, our ability to see outside of our own sphere, plus all the EMFs that, these satellites are going to be bombarding us with 5G radio frequencies, right? I mean, it's just going to absolutely disrupt the whole thing. So the astronomers are, signing this petition, and they invite other astronomers, other engineers, other scientists. You had to, And so I says, well, I'll sign that petition, by God. So I go to the, website, and it leaves a comment, and I said, as a shamanic astrologer, I sit beneath the planets and I receive psychic transmissions from these planets. And this is guidance for myself, my life, my teachings, expansion of consciousness. These satellites are going to totally disrupt my receiving, my transmissions, my meditations, as well as the visible, tangible, physical effects that it's going to have on astronomy. And I put a little note in there for the astronomers. I said, finally, the astrologers and the astronomers can agree on something. And then I signed it. Of course, I am an electronics engineer, so I qualified, as an engineer, but I don't know if they're really going to put my note, in there to Trump or whoever, wherever it's going, They'll probably kick me out. Anyway, where was I, man? I was in this place. The host of angels behind us. It's like whatever you bring forward, there is a spiritual transmission. Okay, Kundalini Yoga, the golden thread, the golden chain, going all the way back to Guru Ram Das, through Yogi Bhajan. I connect to the golden chain. I mean, this Aquarius it's the opposite of Leo. Trump's a Leo rising. I, me, my, me, I'm the king. Aquarius is the good of the planet, the good of the community, the good of the future. So it's very impersonal. The computers and the science and technology, this is very impersonal, right? So, this is stepping into the third eye. I associate Aquarius, with the sixth chakra, Prometheus, awakening, illumination. This is a super powerful time. And I just want to encourage you all that this time of critical decisions in both our personal lives and in our social lives, we are not alone. There are spiritual beings. Just talk to Rudolf Steiner. There are the cherubim, the cherubim, the spirits of time, the spirits of form, the spirits of space, the dynamis, the curiosities. There are zillions. They're not just extraterrestrials, man. They are extraterrestrials, but they don't have to even have a planet. It's just, and so we are, and so, today my mantra is about the family, that we are a human family. And just kind of think of this planet Earth as the school of planet Earth. And let's say that it's got 12 grades. And some souls have been around, reincarnated thousands of times. Okay, they're in these advanced evolutionary stages of 12th grade, ready to graduate off of this third dimensional school. And then you've got what? The 8th graders, the 5th graders, the 1st graders. There's a whole, there's a whole trip going on here, right? And so what are the 8th graders doing? They're not so concerned about the school anymore because they see a much greater future. Okay, other dimensional realms, other places where they're, it's like, yeah, I'm ready to, my sights are kind of out of here. So, it's important that, those 12th graders turn around and hold and teach and care for the younger souls on this planet, the younger ones that are brash, that are raw, that are short-sighted, okay, that are, more personally, invested and just don't know and don't see. So this is where, how to deal with this discord, Pluto square Eris, and how to deal with some of the inane, psychotic, neurotic, sociopathic leaders and choices and businesses that are going on. It's just like we could get very angry, very alienated, very judgmental, very, it's just the downside of Aquarius is detachment instead of non-attachment. I'm not going to have anything to do with them, and I'm not that. And you can see the discord, the gap between whether it's political parties or religions or economies. There's so much separation going on now. And so this is where we come in, right? And it's just like unity and diversity, realizing that we are family, the human family. And I don't know I got, 5 brothers and sisters. There were 6 kids in our family. We didn't all get along, man. We still don't. Families, there's karma there, right? There's definitely, we wake each other up and bump each other and bop each other over the head, and it's just like, call each other on their shit, and it's just boom, 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 boom. I'm not saying that just because we're family, we're all lovey-dovey. We can argue and stuff, but hey, there is a common, we are on the same planet. We are of the same DNA structure until people start messing with it. So, yeah, this is what the mantra is about today. And it's just, I now see that my destiny is about way more than me. For us, for the time has come for us to be one big human family. This is the north node of the moon in Cancer. Cancer is family. Emotional connection, nurturing, caring, holding, supporting. That's a north node is our future evolutionary path for now, and it's there until May. So this is a real time to be focusing on this kind of energy. I now see that my destiny is about way more than me. For the time has come for us to be one big human family. May you treat everyone as your brothers and sisters, no matter what grade they're in. And hopefully one day we will all graduate together. Namaste. Aloha. So much love. Ow! Oh man, I wanted to show you. I got my shungite. I want to thank Mike Redhawk. He made this for me. And, you know, it's got some moldavite, but, you know, the main stone in there is shungite. Shungite is the protector from EMF and 5G and 4G and wireless and all that stuff. Get a hold of some shungite, bro. Sis. Everybody. Namaste.